everybody, and welcome to this week's After Church Tea Time. The theme of this week is manifesting your dreams and desires. I'm Rachel. I'm being joined by Ryan and Christy. And what I got from the sermon was about taking action. They say the manifesting your dreams is 90% inner work, 10% inspired action, or 99% or 1% or something like that. The taking action can actually just mean more inner work in a certain area. It's going to be different each time. So it really means you got to follow your intuition and do what you're guided to do what's in front of you. But also bear in mind that the taking action isn't all about doing and doing and doing all the time and exhausting yourself. Every time you complete some healing, you have to allow a little bit of time to rest and allow that healing to settle. You've just done a spiritual workout. You need to rest and feed yourself in order to get the full benefit of it. So this journey is about being kind to yourself. It's about being compassionate with yourself. And also, somebody shared on Instagram recently how when you are doing your healing work, it's very important not to get caught up in doing it to solve the problem. That's not how you manifest. You do your healing work because you deserve to feel good now. You're doing it to feel good now. And that's what manifests what you're desiring. Does anybody have anything to add?
Yeah, can go. Yeah, I just felt when you shared, Rachel, about when you just keep going, I was also feeling into it, right? Sometimes you try to push just through and to move forward, but when you don't feel your feelings and we don't do the inner work, you keep stuck, right? You try kind of hard, but you're not really moving forward because on the outer it just gets more uncomfortable, or kind of the situations that are coming up. So you cannot avoid like facing your fears or the challenge that is in front of you, but at the same time, it's relieving maybe to realize that you called that in and that it's not against you. But when you make the choice, like Adam Brian also stated, like, for example, for harmonious union or to live in America, right? God presents you with these opportunities, and sometimes these opportunities are triggers, are upsets, and to know that God has a solution for it and to just surrender, right? Maybe letting go of the way we think like it should work out, like our plan or what seems kind of logical, because sometimes we don't understand or cannot see what God sees, right? What the solution to something is. And sometimes to say like, I don't know anything is the best thing you can do, and to let go and of attachment in the outcome, and to just keep feeling your feelings, being present, like Rachel said, with yourself. What brings you in the flow of God again, right? So God wants us to not struggle, right? Sometimes I remember Adam Branch had leaving the struggle bus. It's kind of like a nice indicator. But it always kind of reminds me of that, to just, you have the choice, right, to leave the hamster wheel or the struggle bus, right, to just step out of it and just surrender, like in the pond, Jeff and Juliet in the class. I just remember with the water, right, when you're like struggling and fighting, and there's the sand and the water, you cannot see clearly or anything. In the moment when you relax and surrender to God, suddenly you see clearly, or what is the next step, and that you just have to know the next step and not the third one, and to just flow forward, like taking then inspired action. And you will be so proud of yourself when you just do, and you don't know where the journey is going, but to just take one action step and know that you're on the right path, right? Because you choose love and you choose to heal and to follow God, and you're doing everything right. Yeah.
Yeah, and to, I guess, just go off that, like speaking to acknowledging your fear and acknowledging that that's all that is, taking you from your divine expression. And that's really the teachings of union, is to conquer fear with love, right? And yeah, to not be overwhelmed by what the voice of fear is speaking. And the voice of fear is really just, that feeling that, like, oh, I don't know if I can go there, or oh, I don't know if I can say that, or oh, I don't know, how to handle this. But allowing God in your life, allowing yourself to receive love, is allowing God in your life, and God will communicate with you. God will communicate and show you what you need to do. There's nothing that can't be done without God, or can't be done without God, right? Or can be done without God. Everything is with God. And our physical reality, I think this physical world that we live in, what we're learning is that it's the same, it is spiritual, it is connected to God in our choices. And when we take action from what our inner work has shown us, we can then show the world who we are. We can then transcend whatever has been keeping us stagnant or keeping us away from the miracle, the manifestation of the miracle. And I know in my life there's been times, and especially now, where it's like harmonious union. I feel it, I claim it, and it's like fear on the doorstep. It's like game 7, you're at the 3-point line. Are you going to make the shot? Are you going to, claim the moment? And I feel like it's knowing that you can face that fear with love. You can, step into what you really, that dream come true. And that's, Shaleia's quote is, the promise of dreams is that they come true, right? And that's the truth. Yeah. So that's what I have.
Beautiful. Yeah, I liked the bit in the sermon where it was emphasized how challenges are there to bring in more love if you move through them. So they don't resist them. There's no point in calling something in and then resisting it when it comes in. You ask God for your union and he sends you all these challenges, but they are, excuse me, they are literally the steps leading to your union. And, taking action to love yourself there, love yourself through it. That's why they say that the only true gauge of your progress is not by looking at your external manifestations. If you do that, you're always going to be disappointed, because your external manifestations are showing you really what you manifested before, not what you're manifesting now. And so to get a more accurate picture, you've got to go by how you feel. But even that can be a little bit inaccurate, because if you go by how you feel right now, you could be in the middle of an upset, or moving through an upset, or upheaving, releasing lower energies. And that's what you could be feeling at the moment. And when you're in an upset, it's very easy to feel like you're further away from union, but that's not actually true. If you work in the process, you have never been closer to union than you are at this moment. So the only true gauge of your progress is, am I moving through my upsets? And it was only during the sermon just now that I realized this on a much deeper level, how that literally brings you to everything you desire. And once you get good at doing the mirror exercise, once it becomes a daily practice, you've been doing it for a while, you can move through all your stuff pretty fast. It feels really good. So just remember, you are the love that's showing up for yourself in this place. So don't resist the upset. Don't resist the love. Don't resist the bad feelings that are coming up. Just move through them. I choose to do it swiftly and compassionately. You have to have a lot of compassion for yourself if you want to progress on this journey, always.
Amen. Patience and compassion. Yeah. To move through everything. I just remember like when we were chatting before we started going live, right? And Ryan was saying about that every fear is like in a way about God, and right, and to realize that, and I remember Jeff and Shaleia did a video about that, to claim planet Earth as your home, right? That it's kind of also safer, like to feel your feelings, or to be like in your body and to ground, and to feel safe, like especially like I feel that's also one of my biggest issue, or that I was healing through, right? To when you're really vulnerable, right? To feel safe, like being intimate with God, or in general, like in relationships with others, that there's nothing to hide, like because you're always speaking with God, no matter like who the other person is, even if they're not receptive maybe, or are not choosing God right now, but also God comes through them sometimes to learn to set boundaries or whatever it might be, but that everything is in truth on your side, right? Because God is always on your side. And it's also something I hear through, and I was doing this morning the transformation game again, right? I have that at home, kind of the board game. And as a little child, I always loved to play it for myself, right? With God, I had a plus, and I did that like with 2 questions, right? You can ask God questions, so to speak. And the first one, like, what do I need to do to come into harmonious union right now? And the other one was like about healing poor boundaries. It's also something I'm struggling with, like to feel really peaceful when I say no, or when I set a boundary. And like for the harmonious union question, the energy came up with forgiveness. That was like one of my struggle or my challenges, I feel, that also my coach helped me like to face today, that I don't, or like the Course in Miracles says, you don't have to forgive the illusion, right? Or no, in truth, you just have to forgive the illusion, right? In truth, you don't have to forgive anything because it never happened in a way. And for example, I didn't have kind of like compassion when it seemed like somebody has no trauma or experience, and when they're choosing evil or something like that. And I had always compassion for people like who were growing up in an abusive environment and get into jail, stuff like that. But when somebody is choosing evil just because they like to, and I have a blast with that, it was hard for me kind of like to understand that and to let go of that, but to see, like, I feel that's kind of the core issue for harmonious union, or to come there, to love everybody, right? Like Jeff and Shaleia said, that God even loves Hitler, or like no matter what, who was living on the planet, right? To see that they are also children of God, that they are divine and a miracle, and to have compassion, right? Because everything what is like not love is to fear, or they're choosing just fear, no matter how evil it seems. And to also forgive myself, like from the past where I wasn't able to set boundaries or to stand up for myself. So that was kind of my challenge of the day. And I'm very grateful, like to come closer there, to manifest harmonious union, right? To really feel like I'm able to embrace the world, what I kind of always desired as a child, right? In your innocence, when you just like get born, and that it's safe to do that. And you can just invite others, right? And it's safe if they're not ready yet to take their own journey, but to just focus on love, and especially that love is the boundary, or like when you set a boundary with someone, that you let the love flow, and not stopping the love, but kind of not building a wall, right? Kind of with this person. And because otherwise I was not feeling safe like earlier. And yeah, but being always connected, because then you're in the consciousness at one point, when you do that with even one person, you choose separation there, right? But when you let the love flow kind of with all, it really opened my heart. Yeah, I just wanted to share that. That was my challenge to, yeah, harmonious union.
Yeah, thank you for sharing that. It actually just kind of opened me up to seeing like my mind and how there is still places that I am facing, and like, digging out the muck, letting go of the old, and allowing that peace, that joy, that light to live there. And actually, one thing that I chose to do this week was to start taking a multivitamin. And it's like it's been bothering me, my health. And it was, I've really done a lot of inner work to get my health to where it is. Yeah. And sometimes you need to take the physical action, right? And I don't know what it was in me. I think it was like this victim consciousness inside of me that was like holding on to the idea of being sick. And I just said, this week, like, no, I choose life, I choose health, and I choose wellness. And I started taking a multivitamin, and now like my body's adapting, it's shifting, it's changing into more of my divine self. And I guess, yeah, just to what I'm sharing is like the inner work and the physical choices as well. Like we live a physical life, right? We have a human body, and we need to take care of it. And we need to take care of all of ourselves. And it does start with the mind. The mind is what it starts with, because if our mind is not taken care of, then our life can't be lived in the purity of what it really is. And yeah, I think a lot of it too is releasing anger, towards what you chose before. Like Christy's talking about forgiveness. And yeah, before this work, I chose a lot of contrast. I chose a lot of separation, and I nearly lost my life because of it. I went through a lot. And yeah, the work here, if you just do the work, you're going to heal mountains. And you're also going to learn that it's about the physical choice to live and function in society. It's not to run, it's to be, it's to open this teaching up to the world because of what it is. It's not to hide with it. And that's what we were gifted by Jeff and Shaleia, is that they shared it with us. And I'm learning to humble myself there, to sharing myself, being myself, and not holding myself, in a corner and doing my work. I'd rather be seen. I'd rather open up my true self to the world, to myself first. I deserve that. I don't deserve to hide from me in a way. And I think this is what everybody talks about on the twin flame journey, right? The physical and the 5D. But it's one thing. It's all, we're all connected to heaven. We're all one with God. And it's not weird, it's not strange, it's very normal. And I think that's a big piece, is just normalizing this for ourselves, at least communicating that normal truth, that truth with ourselves. And for myself, just normalizing the fact that I am one with God, and God is with me in every single step. God is with me in every single moment, even when I'm angry, even when I'm happy, even when I'm upset, whatever. God has always been there, always will be, and I choose to walk in that way, because that is what harmonious union is, right? It's walking with God. Yeah.
Yeah, I love that. There's loads in there. Um, I'm not going to overcomplicate it right now, because I'm still processing what Ryan's just said. But when you're bringing the love to the places within you that are needing love, you don't have to be doing there either. It's not actually your job to make the love go into that place. All you have to do is invite God to come into that place. It's just a very simple choice, but it's powerful. You just have to open the door, let love into that space. And then you can, I'm going to quote Ryan here from one of his readings, you can just relax into that. You can let love do the work, let God do the work of the healing. So it doesn't have to be hard, it doesn't have to be tiring. It's not supposed to be tiring. Even in the sermon when they were talking about the initial hump, and this was in one of Ryan's readings that you did for me like about 3 years ago, getting over that initial hump. Yeah, it was a pretty big hump. The first part is always the hardest. And when you get over that hurdle, the relief and the ease that comes in is amazing. You immediately know that you're on the other side of the healing, and so it becomes more and more like plain sailing. And bear in mind, it always gets a bit more challenging before a breakthrough. It's like ego starts appearing very, very strong because it knows you're about to win big. You're about to claim a lot more ground from it. And and Adam and Brienne said, this is when having faith is very important. And it's quite recently that I've realized that how having faith in times of uncertainty is a massively powerful practice in its own right. That will get you far. So trust in the divine plan. You have to let go of expectations. If you're expecting it to unfold a certain way, God is bringing you everything you desire. If you're choosing love, then your destination can only be love. But sometimes God's plan, you won't understand it. And that's okay. God is under no obligation to give us a nice linear path that makes sense to us. This is when faith comes in again, but it's not a blind faith. You've got your intuition, you've got your inner knowing. If you've got the teachings, they make everything so much clearer and so much easier. And you have to be okay with not knowing sometimes, because God rolls like that. God is always surprising. So it's okay to relax and allow God to bring you a lovely surprise.
Yeah, I love this surprises, right? Even for the little things sometimes, like in the day that, you just so touched to tears sometimes, like how grateful you are, or you just desired something and directly it's there, right? And sometimes you even don't aware of it. I don't remember where I read it, but I think it was an open forum this week about a post, right? I think it was Tyra, like sharing about her love list, and to see how far you've come, right? When you started the journey and you created your love list and what you desire, and now looking at it and what you already achieved, how far we have come and through what kind of challenges we already moved. And I also loved like when Anna, like in the card reading, was speaking about to never compare yourself with somebody else or what challenges they were moving through, because you don't know, right? It seems sometimes, oh, their journey is easier, or right, you never know what kind of challenges like somebody was already moving through. And so your journey is perfect for you, and God is always by your side. And also to learn to be proud of yourself and to come into your power and into your strength. And I love the meditation, like to really relax into manifesting, right? The feelings, like to manifest what you desire. And I learned it also on a deeper level, kind of every day, to not stress yourself out, because then you leak your energy, but to relax in every moment. And then you receive from God the whole time, like 24/7. And you always kind of have energy or for everything what God is telling you. And I just loved when Adam and Brienne spoke about that. Yeah, you have a task on your plate and you say like maybe from a limited mindset. Oh, I cannot do that, or I'm not sure if I can handle this. But God would never give you something you can't handle, right? So you grow like by facing the fears, or where you belittle yourself and limit yourself with this thinking, and to directly address it, because you called it in a way, right? With the choices we did for our dreams manifesting. And the cool thing is that the moment you achieve something, you never have to be afraid, now what? Because then the next dream will come up. And so it will just get better and better along your journey, and nothing is too big for God. And it's really humbling to like feel into how much God wants to love us, and that we feel supported on our journey, and that God wants to make us happy kind of every second. And sometimes we are kind of blind to that, and to realize that he wants that we feel relieved and relaxed and trust him more and enjoy life. Like that's in truth the purpose, right? And of course, then together with our twin flame and coming closer to God and our heaven on earth. And yeah, that's what I feel right now sharing.
Yeah, and like to go off of what you're sharing, joy is our purpose. So if it brings us joy, it's worth it. And so when Adam and Brienne were talking about how like you don't sometimes face the thing, what is that bringing you? What, like, just get clear on that. It's not bringing you joy. So it's not serving you. And, I was thinking about this today while in meditation about joy, and like how in every moment, like no matter what kind of answer I want to give as to why I can't have joy, it's never enough to keep me from joy. So today I kind of made that choice, like, okay, I'm going to choose joy. I'm going to choose joy in this and see what happens. Because, even in like just like the blindness of myself, like being upset because I'm not where I want to be, or I don't have like finances were spoken on, and I don't have, the car, the house, the things that I desire, but I get those through joy, through a presence and joy, and like what you're speaking on, to calming down and just letting God go. Like God's gonna go, God's gonna move through. Like God is just waiting on me. God is waiting on us to allow that there. And that's the process, is just more God, more God. And like feeling safe to not feel like you need to be in charge, be in control. And I think that's a big thing in my union, was trying to be in control and getting upset with my twin flame because she wanted to be in control. And yeah, it never works. And it it never allows things to just be like, okay, we love one another. It just keeps it in this space of like a rabbit hole of more of why separation makes sense, but it doesn't. It never does. And like the power is in, like, you could make 100 million choices in separation, and one choice in joy can release all of that. So yeah, joy is the way.
Yeah, yeah, certainly. I made a meme earlier on which said, I attract the love of my life, which brings joy to my mind, body, and soul. Funnily enough, I've upped my supplements as well, you mentioned earlier. It's like increasing health always helps with joy and raising your vibration. You want to take the turkey tail for your immune system. But in addition to that, working through the fears, you don't have to be afraid of what comes up, like within your consciousness. It's not going to be anything new and big and scary. You know what the feelings are already. You've been feeling them the whole time. It's just actually really facing them down until they dissolve. And it's safe to just follow God's lead here, because you are healing into your dreams. Every challenge moved through brings you closer. And as Adam and Brienne were saying, it's like Brienne's fear of flying. And then God told her, no, you've got to fly this time, because she didn't know this at the time, but she had a much longer flight coming up to go and be with her twin flame in harmonious union in Europe. So every challenge that you are moving through, it gives you something. It gives you a little piece that you're going to need for your union. So if your biggest challenges are in romantic love, maybe like me, you've got a lot of wounding in that place. That's okay, because the bigger the challenge, the bigger the joy on the other side. So if you've got big challenges in the area of romance, don't worry, because you're going to be getting a big love coming in for you. So it's safe to not question God's plan for you, because God's way is always the best way. And every upset that you move through, it raises your vibration to the vibration of harmonious union. So it's like Brienne getting into the vibration where she gets on the plane to Europe. That's happening in every area of your union. That's the purpose and benefit of the challenges. They give you the vibration that's going to bring you everything you desire. They're all stepping stones. They enable you to attain the means to manifest your desires. Sure, there might be a few steps you have to go through, but all you have to do is take that step, that one step that's in front of you, the only one you can see, and then you'll be given the next step. And it's not constant inner work. You are allowed rest and relaxation. It's just as important. You'll progress fastest if you take time for yourself to relax and rejuvenate when your heart's calling you to do so.
Beautifully said. Yeah, it's so important to have balance in your life, right? Like, of course, the more you can then also do, right? You don't have to be afraid to be lazy, or when you relax more, it's like this quote is like, work hard, play hard, right? There has to be like this balance. And at the same time, when you always receive from God, I remember Jeff saying that in the class, like he receives 24/7 and shares himself 24/7. There's no separation in that giving and receiving from God, and romancing yourself with good food, with good drinks, right? Making sure that you have all your needs met and putting yourself first. And the more you can give, right? The more you can just be yourself and surrender yourself to God. And yeah, it's a really humbling journey, right? To allow God to move through you, no matter what you do, to let go of the resistance. And what I also like was, for example, claiming like the SLS, like the Spiritual Life Summit coming up in Michigan. And I manifested myself like a full-time job where, yeah, I'm not at home for many hours now, like in the week. And of course, it was a challenge at first, but I was claiming my abundance, right? I was desiring that in my heart, to not think about the money or when I'm there, right? To really have an enjoyable and pleasant experience there and to make it happen. And so I made kind of the choice in my heart for this job. And then suddenly it was in front of me, right? It was a person that offered me kind of this job, and I didn't even ask for that. And I just said yes, and I had to, of course, go there. And now I manifested some upgrades even like there, and they might be even open for the healing and maybe for MAP and for the coaching, what feels very juicy, because it's like a doctor's office where I'm working. And so, yeah, I manifested a better parking lot right now, for example, in the garage, not outside. And I claimed my wedding dress like yesterday, like for the upcoming event, and right, to romance yourself and to make it happen. And yeah, but you have to kind of like make this choice or these action steps. I feel like what Adam Brienne were also speaking about, right? Of course, sometimes you feel like blocked. You want to do it, and you know, kind of you have to do it, but you feel like not now. And then to really feel into like, what is blocking me from taking action right now, or why do I feel blocked? And suddenly, like, everything can flow forward, and you feel so happy, right? To be in this energy, to go for your dreams and to just make them happen, and to, yeah, partner with God with all the relationships, right, we have in this beautiful community. And yeah, it's right to feel already into this joy, right, that it's soon, and it feels very good that we crowned heaven and earth again.
Yeah, I feel, this summit is going to just really bring us into that consciousness of grounding, heaven on earth. And yeah, it's going to be amazing. Just like every event that I've been to. And they've all led to this one, of course. And yeah, I feel like it's just like a natural understanding of self that we're all moving into, with not identifying with ego, but identifying with divine self. And the last romance in Sedona was all about claiming your divine self. And I think for the years that we've been doing that, we're now understanding that and grounding that. So yeah, I look forward to that in June. If you haven't got your ticket, you definitely should claim it. And yeah, that's what I got. So thank you guys. This was fun.
Okay, so how is everybody feeling? Is everyone feeling complete, or is there anything more you'd like to add? No, is that both of you feeling complete? Well, okay. So thank you for watching, everybody. I hope you enjoyed this little talk. I hope you found it helpful. And we'll see you all again very, very soon. Goodbye and God bless.